everyone, welcome to Longarming by Jaclyn. So we've got a two-part video this time. Don't be disappointed. You'll have to tune in next week for the dramatic conclusion. I used some of this fabric and I'm going to out them. This is Waverly fabric. That's the brand carried by Walmart. Sometimes when you're in a bind, you go to Walmart and you grab a pre-cut yard off the wall. So, I was spraying it to press and discovered that that red fabric is not super stable and it is bleeding. And I don't know how badly because I have not washed the quilt yet. So we're going to do a little test and we're going to determine the top 5 ways to fix bleeding fabric, and I will test and rank them. So I have made these little sample swatches. And I've got 5 methods. So I've got 2 samples, 1A and 1B, 2A and 2B, whatever, for, and I have joined the culprit to a piece of white fabric, and this will be my little mock quilt to test each of the 5 methods and see how it goes. And I'll rank them. You know, we'll be looking at things like price. Is this readily available? Is this super expensive? Is it worth it? Did it work? All of those things. So number 1 is the Shout color catchers that I will be using to see if that works. For the quilt, I would be using a lot of them. For this small piece, I'm only going to use 1, and on their video they do it in a large bucket of water instead of in the washing machine, and I might do that since these are such small samples. There is a method called the Dawn method where you basically soak your quilt in hot water in the bathtub and dawn. They say use the bathtub because you need a big volume of water, and soak it for like 12 hours and then do a lot of rinse and repeat. And then similar, there's Synthropol, which looks like it's just a surfactant, but we're going to be giving that a go. And then I'm going to do a control method, so I'm going to wash it in hot water and then do that several times without drying it, just regular detergent, and then see how that goes. And I'm missing a method. Well, I'm looking at my list and I've clearly listed the same thing 2 times, so let's pretend it's top 4 Friday, and it still kind of alliterates, so we'll do a top 4 Friday, and if I come up with a 5th method by then, we will test it, because that was my intention. So I'm going to take these swatches and put them through the methods. I wonder if for A, I should dampen it and get the color to transfer over and let it air dry, as if you caught some color bleeding later. And B, maybe I'll just put it in unwashed like this and let the color transfer happen, and it hasn't had a chance to go over to the white. So I think that's what I'll do. I will dampen all of the A's and get the color bleed started, pull them out and air dry them. So that'll be the difference between A and B, and it'll also be 2 samples. So if it worked and it was a fluke, it won't work twice. Maybe we'll be able to see a difference. So that is our top 5 kickoff video, top 4 Friday, and next week we will see the dramatic conclusion. So I'll show you some of the things that I've ordered for this and get these samples going, and I'll be taking some footage throughout the week of me working on these methods, messing up these pieces of fabric, and going on there. And I do recommend that you try this yourself at home. So if you get a quote from someone and you're not sure always throw some color catchers in there. The main color, the worst culprit, is darker colors that have any kind of a red in them. So purple falls under that category because there's red dye in a purple. And your fabric, the chemical content of it, and the dyes that are there and how much dye could be different from mine. So if at all possible, if you can grab a sample swatch and audition your method like this, you will be really glad you at least tried it here before you committed your entire quilt to that. So this is set up for me. I'm not just washing this red fabric by itself because I knew it was going to bleed. I didn't think it was going to bleed. I've used plenty of fabrics before from that line that didn't bleed. I was not worried. And then I discovered after the fact that this guy is bleeding. So I'm taking the exact fabric that I am dealing with and a sample of white. And I think you should audition your own method, and maybe you'll figure out that you only need to soak it for 8 hours and that moves you along faster or whatever. So you'll figure out the specifics for your scenario. Always audition, try to get samples. If the quilt maker is someone you know, ask them if they have some leftover scraps of this and they can send them to you, and you can do your test on your own as well, because you just never know. All the dyes are different. There's no really standards in fabric making. People do what they do. Different brands, different manufacturers. So, all right, so we will see you next week for the dramatic conclusion of Top 4 Friday, and have a great week. Bye.